मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान करि मंगल करि हो महा ग्रंथ करन को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज. So today we are going to start the 8th chapter of Moksha Marg Prakashak. So from 6th we are directly going to 8 because the 7th one will be covered in the 8th or 9th sem. It's bit bigger. So in one of the sems it will be full 7th chapter only, and similar will be with the 9th chapter. Okay. So 9th chapter is the last one, and before that we will have 7th, and before that we are having the 8th one. Okay. So this chapter is about 4 exposition. Okay. So the heading is nature of sermons. So whatever that we have got through Divya Dhvani of Lord Mahavir Swami, and then from there to Gandhar, and then Gandhar to Acharyas, and through the lineage of Acharyas, scholars, and from scholars to us, this has been a channel, and the source is, of course, Tirthankar's Divya Dhvani, divine sound. So now, talking about this nature of sermons, you will not find this anywhere in any of the scriptures. This is Todarmalji's own independent creation, the explanation about the 4 exposition. Okay. In not a single scripture I have found anything about 4 exposition. Although we know that the Divya Dhvani is divided into 4 exposition, and each exposition has its own unique style of presenting, and that we have read in Vitrag Vigyan 2 and also in Tattvagyan part 2. Okay. In both these chapters, we have read something about 4 exposition. And if you remember very vividly, we had done some practicals also on 4 exposition, that how it is beneficial for us if we are able to apply all the 4 exposition in a particular event in our practical life. So it becomes so easy to arrive at a decision. Okay. So decision making is a bit tough for everybody. And when you are having all the 4 exposition on the same event at the same time, then it becomes very clear for you to take a decision. Okay. Otherwise, by and large, we do consider it from one of the expositions, like either we are doing Ved Vigyan, so it is Dravyan Yoga, that is exposition on substance or metaphysics. Or otherwise, we have some examples from Pratman Yoga, which is again exposition on stories and biographies of great personalities. Then we have something on karma theory or about the 3 world or the cosmology, okay, about stages of spiritual development or Margana Sthan, that is soul's quest. Okay. So all stages of quest. Okay. So all these form part of Karnan Yoga. And another good name for Karnan Yoga would be exposition on technical matters. Similarly, we have the third one as Charnan Yoga. Charnan Yoga is exposition on conducts and ethics, where we see what a householder is supposed to follow and what a monk should follow. So there are some rituals, attributes, principal elements which a householder should follow or a monk should follow. So all these are very nicely explained over there, and through that we can easily implement those in our life depending on the situation or the state of existence that we are in. Okay, supposing now I am a householder. So what is applicable to me? What I can do at this level and what is beyond my level? So if you have a very clear idea about those, then things become easy. Okay, so that is there in Charnan Yoga. Now coming to the last one, the Dravyan Yoga, exposition on substances and metaphysics. Here lies the main theme or main elements, the 6 substances and 7 elements, which helps us in practicing this science of discrimination, Bhed Vigyan. Okay, so when you want to experience ourselves, when you want to practice science of discrimination, it is the Dravyan Yoga that helps us. Okay, so each exposition has its own way of presenting things from different perspectives, and depending on the situation that we are in at that point of life, we should follow that exposition. There is not a given sequence that you first follow these, then these, then these. No, depends on the situation that you are in. Even a enlightened soul, Jnani, like Ramchandra ji, okay, when Sita was kidnapped and he went mad, and he started asking trees whether you have seen Sita, such situation. Being a Saik Samyak Drashti, right believer, okay, Saik means destructional, okay, destructional disposition, okay. So being a right believer of Saik Samyak Drashti, he also underwent through those situations. And at that point of time, stories reflecting the same kind of situations which earlier enlightened souls had undergone, that helps, to navigate those situations. So we cannot say that this exposition is superior and this is inferior. No, it depends where you are. Okay, so accordingly you have to adapt the exposition, and while you are moving ahead in the path of liberation, you can still switch over the exposition. You went at certain level up in Pratman Yoga, then you find that no, now whatever I had to extract from this story, I've already extracted. Now I want to practice science of discrimination. So then you switch over to Dravyan Yoga. From Dravyan Yoga, you now want to correlate it with karmas. So you switch to Karna Yoga. Okay. So similarly, you can switch to conduct, Charnan Yoga. Okay. So the end conclusion for all the 4 exposition is to manifest passionless, pure disposition. Okay. So these are 4 exposition, are the 4 pillars of Tirthankar's sermons. Okay. And each play its own role. And together you can make out a path for yourself depending on your likes, dislikes, your interest, your disinterest, your ability to grasp, and many other factors, the life situations that you are in, you have to adapt one of the expositions, okay? And then you keep on moving ahead and switching on and again moving ahead. So you may keep on switching the exposition, but you are still going in the right path. Okay, gradually you are increasing your purity. So this helps in a great way for a seeker, true seeker, Atmarthi. Okay, so this kind of exposition, it's only Todarmalji who have, it's his own creation, and that's why he was called Acharya Kalp. Although he was a householder, but he was given the title of Acharya Kalp. Acharya Kalp means just like Acharya, because his thinking was like Acharya. His understanding was like Acharya. His application was like Acharya, although he was a householder. So that makes very unique. While this scripture is incomplete, because in the 9th chapter only, the Moksha Marg began. It was the starting point of Moksha Marg. And then this further could not be completed. And those scholars who were there at that time, all the contemporary scholars at that time, they were asked to complete this scripture. And everyone said, no, it's not my cup of tea. What Todermalji can think, what Todermalji can comprehend, it's not my ability to do that. So nobody completed it. Of course, we have some similarities in Chedala. You have already studied Chedala. So more or less they follow the same patterns, So based on Chedala, if somebody wants to complete this scripture, they can still complete it. And in the beginning, I think on page number 27 or 28 of the preface, there is a chart given, if it is there in this or not, but in Hindi it is definitely there. It spreads over 2 pages. I think in English, I don't see it. No, it's not there. But in Hindi, it's there. I will share you the photo of that. From that chart itself, you can still complete these scriptures. Okay. But whatever is available, that is enough for us to learn how to interpret the scriptures. Okay. And this chapter goes a long way in interpreting the understanding of the sermons of Tirthankar. Okay. So this was the basic introduction of this chapter. One of my favorite, because every now and then in your day-to-day life situations, you come across many problems and you are in a dilemma. You don't know what to do. So at that point of time, you are able to apply and think from these 4 angles, the 4 exposition. Each will give you a solution on its own way. And if you put together all the 4 solutions, you get the complete picture. And when you get the complete picture, it is easy for you to decide what should I do? And people do get stuck up with this. What should I do? Now, supposing you are traveling and you are crossing the road and you met with an accident. So what first thing that will come to your mind? That he was not looking at me while driving the car. Okay. Then you might have another idea that it is because of my bad karma. Okay. But if you have all the 4 expositions at a glance, then you know that you realize your mistake also. You realize others' mistake also. You realize that it is the karma that is that is playing the role because which I am suffering. Then you will realize that no, nothing has happened to me. I am the observer. Unnecessarily, I am taking so much of thoughts, There is nothing that has happened to me. I am only an observer and I am observing whatever is happening. And what I need to do in future. And in the past, the enlightened souls also went through similar situation. And what they did, and that I get inspiration from them. And when you are able to apply the 4 exposition in a particular event, then you are better equipped to get the decision, first thing. And the second thing is that what it was. I was just going to share something important and it went away. I'm not recalling. We'll share later on. It will come to my mind again because it was something important I want to share. So the thing is that, so you have help and hand in every situations. Just think from 4 exposition levels and you get the complete picture. Okay. So very interesting, very like you will also like it, and we have already discussed a few things from it while in Vitrag Vigyan 2. But you must have forgotten, you can revisit that lecture again and you can continue with this also. Okay. So now we'll begin the reading. Okay. So we can start with Priyanka ji.
Yes, Janina, sir.
Yeah.
I'll start from showing the right path.
Yeah.
Showing the right path of liberation to the misbelievers, mundane beings, is the greatest benefaction of them. Even the Tirthankars, omniscience, Gandhars, chief monks, etc., render such type of benefaction only. Therefore, in this Shastra, Moksha Marg Prakashak, also the discourses are given according to their sermons. For clarifying the nature of sermon, some explanation is given here. Because if one does not identify or know the sermon properly in its true sense, then he may follow the wrong path by believing it otherwise. Therefore, the nature of sermon is being described. In Jinnah's faith, the sermon is given through four kinds of anuyogs, branches of scriptures. Prathma niyog, that is mythology, Karuna niyog, that is etiology and cosmology, Charuna niyog, ethics or religious rituals, and Dravya niyog, metaphysics. These are the four anuyogs. That branch of scriptures in which the life sketches, biographies of great personages like Tirthankars, Chakravartis, etc., are described is called Prathma Niyog. And that branch of scriptures in which the gunstans, spiritual stages, marganas, quest places, etc., forms of the jivas and karmas and cosmology, etc., are described, is called Karuna Niyog. And that branch of scriptures in which the religious conduct, vows, and rituals to be followed by householders and monks are described is called Charuna Niyog. Whereas that branch of scriptures in which six kinds of substances, seven tattvas, etc., and the science of non self, and the science of self, non self discrimination, etc., are discussed is Dravya Niyog.
Stop. Yeah. So you see, the Tirthankars, Gandhars rendered such type of benefaction. Benefaction here means upkar. Okay. So showing the right path of liberation. There are many things in this universe, but showing the right path of liberation. Because once you know the right path of liberation, you get liberated. Your problems solved permanently. Okay. So showing the right path of liberation to whom? The misbeliever. Mithya drashti. Okay. Mundane beings is the greatest benefaction of them. So even when you are taking a patshala in your mandir for the kids, you are still doing such kind of benefaction to them. You know. So even the Tirthankars, Gandhars render such type of benefaction only. Therefore, in this Shastra, Moksha Marg Prakashak, also the discourses are given according to their sermons. Okay. Their sermons means Tirthankars, then Gandhars, and then the lineage of Acharyas and scholars, whatever the whole process, the whole tradition. For clarifying the nature of sermon, Updesh, some explanation is given here. Because if one does not identify or know the sermon properly in its true sense, then he may follow the wrong path by believing otherwise. So what I was wanted to share with you, it has come to my mind while I was reading this, that all these four exposition, okay, they complement each other. Although they have got unique, distinct style of each of its own, but still they complement each other. Now, how they complement each other, I'll give you an example. Now, if you, first thing is that you have to identify from which exposition the statements is being made. Okay. Now, if you are not able to identify that, and if you put Charnanyog against Dravyanyog, okay, then the message that you will get will be wrong. Like, Atma does not eat anything. Okay. This is a statement from which exposition? Soul does not consume any food. So this is a statement from which exposition? Can anyone answer? Darshit, try.
Okay, Jai Jinendra. I think it's from Charna Yog.
Okay. And if I say that one should consume only pure food, Shuddh Bhojan, then?
Again, Charna Yog.
So the first one was Dravyan Yog. Okay. Because Dravyan Yog says that soul does not eat anything. Right. So when we refer to the soul, then it is always Dravyan Yog. Okay. So if you put, now I am saying some statement from Charnan Yog, and then you put Dravyan Yog there, then the message will be wrong. Okay. Because I am telling from a certain perspective that you should not eat the uneatables, you should eat only pure foods, you should filter water like this and that. Then a person who is deep into Dravyana will say, what are you talking about? The soul does not consume at all. Okay. So then it makes the message absolutely wrong. So you have to identify which exposition the statement is being made from. And from that exposition, from that perspective only, you have to understand it. Okay. So again, it's our responsibility from where it being said. And while we will go ahead with this chapter, you will be able to recognize each statement from where it is being said. Okay. Because each exposition has its own unique style. Okay. So this was something that I wanted to share with you, that uh, each exposition complements another. Okay. It's not that they are all contradictory to each other, but they complement each other. Only the styles are different of each exposition. Now, if I give you an example, one more example, where we are going to apply all the four exposition. Now, somebody asked Dravyan Yoga that how I can get liberated. Okay. So what would be the answer? What answer Dravyan Yoga will give? Practice signs of discrimination, experience yourself, and engrossed in yourself. Okay. This is what Dravyan Yoga will answer. Then if we go to ask Karnan Yoga that how the liberation can be achieved. So what Karnan Yoga will say? That we have to destroy 8 karmas to get liberated. Okay. Until and unless we don't destroy the 8 karmas, we will not get liberated. Then you ask Charnan Yoga that how we can get liberated. So Charnan Yoga will say that you become a monk, follow the 28 vows, okay, or 28 fundamental qualities of a monk, and then meditate and you will get liberated. Okay. Now somebody asks Pratman Yoga, then what he will answer? That previously whoever has gone, who has got liberated, they became monk, they destroyed the 8 karmas, they practice signs of discrimination, and they engrossed in themselves and they got liberated. And in future also, if anyone gets liberated, they will go through the same process. Okay. So each exposition has given answer on its own way. But when we are considering one exposition, simultaneously there is another aspect to it, and that is the other expositions. Now, if I say to get liberated, I have to experience myself and then I have to engross in myself. That means, that includes although it is not being said, that includes that you have to become a monk and then you have to destroy the 8 karmas and then you will get liberated. So all the 4 exposition goes hand in hand, but there is a limitation while you are talking. You can talk from one exposition at a time. But as far as our knowledge is concerned, we can make out the other 3 expositions simultaneously while one exposition is being talked about, but other 3 are also there along with that. It is not that only one thing is going on. So all the 4 exposition goes hand in hand simultaneously. Only thing is that depending on the situations, the sermons are given from one of the expositions. But having said that, for your own understanding and for your own benefit, you have to consider all the 4 exposition to get the complete picture. Understood? Any questions on this? Are you all okay, Priyanka?
No question, sir.
Okay, good. So this was the basic. Now the names that are given here for the 4 expositions, okay, they have used the word anuyogs. So what happened, this translation was done 25 years ago, or mostly like that. It's written over there. It's in 2000, I think. This has first edition was in 1992. Okay, earlier than that. Okay, so second is 1992. The first would be prior to that, but it's not written here. Anyway, so it is almost, you can say, more than 30 years. Okay. So the terminology used here, some of them are very vague kind of things, And the author of this translation, Pandit Hemchandra ji from Devlali, now is in Bhopal. I had also spoken to him number of times about this. So he has done a good job, but having said that, whatever terminology were in used at that point of time, he has used, and some of them he has adapted from a book of some Professor Jaini. He was in England. He studied in England. So his glossary has many of the words are being used from that glossary. Okay. And that was further 50 years ago, maybe. So all these words we can find, it's a bit mismatched. Even I had to see I have to check with Google what it means. Otherwise, I do compare it with the Hindi version to get the exact meaning. Okay. So the name given here for Pratman Yoga is mythonomy. Okay. So now mythonomy or mythology, it has got a bit of problem, because generally speaking, mythology are fictional stories. It's not the real. Although it may also mean the real, we have Purans, Pandav Puran, Chobis Tirthankar Puran. Those are also said mythology. So word mythology is used in 2 sense. Okay. So it could be fictional also, and it could be the biographies on the great personalities also. Okay. So while writing this article for Jeev, Vijalji has found good words for all these, and he named Pratman Yoga as exposition on stories, biographies. So this has got a wider meaning. Okay. So Pratman Yoga would be, you can write down these names because it will be better if we use this name, and when you navigate the Jeev platform also, you will find these words only. Okay. Then Karnan Yoga. Karnan Yoga, here it is written as etiology and cosmology. So cosmology is correct because it forms a part of Karnan Yoga, but the Karnan Yoga is not only cosmology. Okay. And this etiology means cause. Okay. So that is also a very vague statement. So what Vijalji has given the name on Karnan Yoga is exposition on technical matters. While yesterday I was talking to her and I said I am not satisfied with this name. We could put it as exposition on karmas, but she said that no, it is not only the karmas. There are many things in Karnan Yoga. Karma is one part, then it is about the spiritual stages of a soul. Okay. It is also about the quest places. So there are 14 spiritual stages. There are 14 stages in the spiritual development, and there are 14 marganas, that is quest places, where we can find the Jeev. Okay. So it is also a part of Karnan Yoga. Then we have the whole karma theory, then cosmology, and then about the three worlds. Okay. All these form part of Karna New Yoga. Okay. So for that, you cannot give any one name. Then it will be not the complete picture. Okay. So the name has been given as exposition on technical matters, but we are all still exploring. If we can get a better terminology, we'll definitely use that. Okay. Then Charnan Yoga is ethics or religious rituals. So that is quite okay, because exposition on conducts oblique ethics. That is fine. Dravyan Yoga is metaphysics anyway, or you can also say exposition on substances. Okay. So these are the names that we have identified, and we will try to use it every now and then. Although in the texture they have given the Hindi names only, they have used everywhere the Hindi names. Only at one place they have given the English names for our benefit. Otherwise they have used Hindi names. So we are good with Hindi names also. And if you want the good English names, that also we have covered. That branch of scripture. Now, little bit of introduction. We have already done this in Vitrag Vigyan part 2, but here again we are giving a small introduction of each exposition. The branch of scripture in which the life sketches, biographies, see, in the bracket it is written again biographies. Okay. So more or less it resembles the names that we have already find out of great personages like Tirthankar, Chakravarti, Kamdev, then enlightened soul and all are described, is called Prathman Yog. Okay. So again, it's biographies. We have 63 Salaka Purush, all those life stories of all those great personalities forms part of this Prathman Yog. And that branch of scriptures in which the Gunasthan, the stages of spiritual development. There are 14 stages. So it is one stage at a time. So if you are in the first stage, you are not in the fourth. And if you are in the fourth, you are not in the first. So it will be one at a time. But in Marganasthan, it is all the 14 at the same time. Okay. So when we see the different 14 names of Marganasthan, you will be able to realize that it is all together. Like Gati, first divisions among the 14 Marganas is Gati, then it is Indriya, okay, then it is Kashai, then Sangya. So there are different names. So if you see Gati, so soul will always be found in one of the state of existence, right? Without Gati, the soul cannot exist. Okay. So it is there. Then the next was Indriya. So soul is either one sensed or two sensed or three sensed or four sensed or five sensed. Okay. With mind and without mind. So it will have one of the senses. Okay. It may be one, it may be more than one, depends. Maximum it would be five. Okay. So this is also there. Then uh, there is some other parameters among the 14 which will all be applicable at that point of time. Okay. So there are again Samyaktva also one of the Marganas. So in Samyaktva they have explained 6 stages, either uh, 3 are the right belief like Shaik, Opshamik and Shayopshamik. And then 3 there are which 3 are there? I think Okay, the three are the names of the first three stages of spiritual development: Mithyatva, Sasadan, and Samyakka Mithyatva. Okay, so 3 plus 3, there are 6 stages. So soul will be in any of the one of the 6. Okay, so that is also again valid. So similarly, all the 14 are valid at one point of time. So all the 14 marganas exist simultaneously, but the spiritual stages is one after the other. Okay, it will be only one of the 14 stages. So, and that branch of scripture in which Gunasthan, Marganas, forms of the jivas, etc., forms of the jivas and karmas. So different types of karmas and then divisions and subdivisions and different stage, 10 types of karmas, okay, 10 conditions of karmas. All these forms about the karma theory. And the cosmology. Cosmology is about the 3 worlds and different time eras, Ausarpini, Utsarpini and all. You have read, you had this subject of cosmology, right? In one of the papers, in this sem only, 4th sem only, right? So you must know about it. So all these forms part of Karnani Yoga, etc. are described is called Karnani Yoga. Okay. Now coming on to the Charnan Yoga, and that branch of scriptures in which the religious conduct, okay, vows and rituals to be followed by householders and monks, okay, are described is called Charnan Yoga. Okay. So uh, if you talk about Arjika Mataji, okay, then still she is a uh, uh, she will fall into the category of householder, but of the higher stages, last stages. Fifth, in the 5th stage of householder, we have 11 pratima, okay, 11 stages of renunciation. We already read in Tattva Gyan. So out of that 11th stage, the Arjika Mata is in the 11th stage, okay, but we cannot consider it as a monk, okay. So it is still in the householder stage, and then everyone else is monks. Okay, so this is all described in Charnan Yoga. Whereas the last one, that branch of 1 minute, okay. Whereas that branch of scriptures in which 6 kinds of substances, 7 tattvas, fundamental elements, 7 fundamental elements, etc., and the science of self, non-self discrimination, okay, etc. are discussed is called Dravyanu okay. So each exposition has its own way of presenting the sermons, okay, and we have to understand each exposition's distinct style, okay, and then only we are able to make out what is being truly said, okay. And if we are not able to make out that from which exposition it is made and we put in some other exposition in perspective, then the message will be totally wrong. As I said that soul does not eat food, so why you are telling to eat pure food? But that statement was from Charnan Yoga. Not eating the uneatables and eating the pure food was from Charnan Yoga. Okay. And the Atma soul does not consume food is a statement from Dravyan Yoga. Okay. So if you understand the perspective, then you will be able to understand the message and you will be able to follow it, apply it in your life and be happy. Okay. Now, first of all, Todarmalji tells us what is the purpose of each exposition. Okay, that is very important. What is there? We will be discussing on each exposition from 2 angles. From the perspective of an ignorant soul and from the perspective of a right believer. Okay, so what is it for a wrong believer and what is it for a right believer? Both will be discussed from each exposition. Okay. So the first one is Pratmanuyog. Although we have 7-8 minutes with us, we'll still try to read this. The purpose of Pratmanuyog. Okay. One paragraph at least we can cover, and then we can continue from there tomorrow. Okay. So Darshit ji, you read the first paragraph.
Okay. The purpose of Pratman Yoga. In Pratman Yoga, the Jivas are encouraged to follow the religion by way of describing the peculiarity of mundane existence, the consequences of punya, virtue, and pap, vice, and the conduct of the great personages, etc. Even the persons having low level of understanding get interested in religion through it because they do not understand the minute details but understand the worldly parables. Their upyog, mind, gets engaged in them. And in Pratman Yoga, the description is found in the form of worldly tendencies only, which they understand very well. In worldly stories of kings, etc., fostering of sins is found. Here too the legends of the high persons like kings, etc., are found, but their purpose is to detach persons from vices and to actuate them to practice religion. Therefore, those persons, due to attraction of legends, read and listen to them, and then knowing the path, vices to be harmful, and dharma, virtuous conduct, to be beneficial, they take interest in religion. In this way, this anyog is meant for the people of low level of understanding. Prathma means slow-witted misbelievers, hence the anyog, which is meant for them, is Prathmanyog. Such meaning is given in the commentary of Gomatsar.
Stop.
Further, yeah.
Stop. So this we completed about the ignorant soul. Okay, what is it for an ignorant soul in Pratman Yoga? Okay, and tomorrow we'll start with what is it for a enlightened soul. How Pratman Yoga will help an enlightened soul? So that we'll discuss tomorrow. But here we are discussing it from the point of view of a ignorant soul. Okay, misbeliever, wrong believer, anything you can say. So in Pratham Yuga, the jivas are encouraged. Okay. So in Pratham Yuga, the jivas are encouraged to follow the religion by way of describing the peculiarity of mundane existence. Okay. Sansar ki vichitrata, peculiarities of mundane existence. The consequence of punya and pap. Okay. Pap is inauspicious and punya is virtue or auspicious. Okay. And the conduct of the great personages, great personalities, okay, etc. Okay. Even the person having low level of understanding gets interested in religion through it. So by and large, people are very much interested in stories. If you remember, the earlier kind of entertainment was about the movies. And people used to get so much engrossed in those movies because they were able to relate it to their life, and there was no other form of entertainment at that point of time. So movies was a very big craze in earlier times because the people at large has this tendency to get interested in stories. They can connect more. Okay. So persons having low level of understanding get interested in religion through it. Through it means through the stories of great personages, because they do not understand the minute details, but understand the worldly parables. Parables is stories. Okay. Their upyog, mind gets engaged in them. They have a general inclination in them. Okay. That's why I wonder many a times that how is that people get so much engrossed in serials and all, that keeps on coming in nowadays in TV and other channels, and nowadays we have Netflix and so many things. So why it keeps engaged? First of all, it is audio visual. And the second is we have past impressions about it. So we automatically gets interested in those kind of things. Okay. So their upyog gets engaged in them. Okay. They have interest now also, and from their past impressions also, they have been interested in this. So it is easy for them to connect to that. Okay. And in Pratman Yoga, the description is found in the form of worldly tendencies. Okay. The general activities that a person undergoes in the world only, which they understand very well, because they are able to connect that, though it so happens with me also. In worldly stories of kings, etc., fosterings of scenes is found. Okay. So there is an inclination on scenes in the worldly stories of kings, etc. Here too, the legends of the high persons like kings, etc. are found, but their purpose is to detach person from vices. So the purpose here differs. Okay. In the worldly stories, there is fostering of sins, but here it is not so. The purpose here is to detach person from vices, sinful activities, and to actuate them to practice religion. That means to actuate them to engage in auspicious activities, good activities, okay, beneficial activities. So this is the basic difference between worldly stories and a Pratman Yoga. And most of our Pratman Yoga story ends in the protagonist getting liberated. All the Tirthankar stories, if you read, then Bhagwan Mahavir went to liberation, got liberation. So all the stories ends with liberation. Therefore, those persons due to attraction of legends read and listen to them, and then knowing the pap vices to be harmful and dharma, virtuous conduct, to be beneficial, they take interest in religion. Okay. In this way, this anuyog is meant for the people of low level of understanding. Pratham means slow-witted. Slow-witted, the person who are less intelligent, mand buddhi. Okay. In Hindi, it is called avyutpan. Avyutpan. Avyutpan means slow learner. You can say moti buddhi. These words are used. So Pratham means slow-witted misbelievers. Hence, the anuyog which is meant for them is Pratman Yog. Such meaning is given in the commentary of Gomat Sar. Okay. Gomat Sar, I think it is Jeev Kand. Okay. So, Pratham does not means first. Pratham means for the slow-witted. Okay. Beginner level, low level of understanding, less intelligent people. For them, this is the exposition that they should get into, and from there they can pick up the interest, and then they can move on to other exposition as they develop their intellect. Okay. So this was all about the ignorant soul. Now tomorrow we will connect with the enlightened soul. What is how Pratman Yoga helps the enlightened soul. Okay. So very interesting. Tomorrow we will carry it forward. Today there was introduction of Jeev in the beginning. So you start navigating those articles, and if you find anything you don't agree with that, then you are most welcome to point out, because this is again at a trial stage. Although the articles have been reviewed by few scholars, and it's all perfect from our side, but still we keep scope for improvement, and we know we are not 100% good in this, but we'll improve as we go further. So my utmost request, you go through these articles and give good whatever feedback is there. We want honest feedback. Okay. So that also you can help us in improving this further. And few of the things we already told to Vijalji about the the presentation style in the website, and about the content you have to read, and then only you can comment on that. Okay, so that also you can do. And now, since this is the first paper that we are doing, so you don't have any homework right now, but the homework is that if you find time, you can read this chapter, 8th chapter, and if you read it once before and once in the class and then one after the class, 3 times is enough for anything. You will have a great level of retention, and if the retention is there, you will be able to apply it in your life. Okay, so 3 times you must read, one time before, one during the class, and one after the class. Then you just simply give the exam without looking at the books. You will be able to answer all the objectives. Okay, and for those who have not completed the objectives, I think tomorrow is the last date, right? Tomorrow is the last date, so you complete, okay, so that we don't have to request the management to open the system again. As far as my these things are concerned, the other assignments are concerned, that we can manage anytime. But for this, you need to have some special effort to complete it on time. Okay. And this time there were so many problems in Moodle and even in Google's also. So we have never experienced it since inception, but this time only the problems have come up. But hopefully they will find solution, and next time we will not have such problems. But for this time, we have to bear with them. Okay. Okay. Any questions coming to your mind about the things that we studied today? Or you are all good? Okay. So we'll do the stuti. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है. You can chant